We're watching democracy fall in real time. Fighting for your freedom is brutal. It is dangerous. And freedom has never been won from the comfort of a couch. I hope that besides getting on your platform and yelling that we're not coming outside, that you're doing other things to help. But make sure you're doing something. Our ancestors were brave. They were built different. And some of y'all are built like your ancestors because a lot of y'all had cowards for ancestors. And it shows.
92%, they did their job. You get tired of being everybody's workhorse. And she can talk like this because I rarely see Asian Americans protesting and doing a lot of the stuff she does. And when things go wrong, she can still hide in her privilege, her non-black privilege. Black women, Democrat or Republican, they're living their lives. If you have the time to do the work, that's in and of itself a form of privilege.
A biracial person, I can't remember the scope of it. I believe there is some Hispanic, is on here saying freedom has never won by staying inside. I'm sitting here going, what in the hell do you think that you can get on here and tell people who live it, this person is not black presenting in the slightest, that we're cowards, that freedom has never been won? When did we have that? Mad words. Because I cannot believe that someone would weaponize black bodies against black people just like they did prior to election in general. And now we've got homies, right? OGs that we're supposed to be talking about how we're cowards because we're not fighting. And then like trying to educate, trying to white-splain to us what's going on. And I'm going to tell you something that all that says to me is that we're doing the right thing, or people wouldn't be talking this mess.
That lady got on these apps and said that black women are cowards for not being out on the streets. Let me tell you something. As somebody raised by a black woman, aunties, grandmothers, church women, church mothers, and cousins, you shouldn't have fixed your mouth to say that. And you owe a general apology to that community. Because listen, when that group showed up for everybody else, on November 5th, not just this past November 5th, but the one before that and that and that, right? For Biden Harris the last time, for Hillary the time before that, and so on and so forth, leading the way, voting for everybody's health and safety at the highest numbers. You shouldn't then come on these apps and say, well, they're not in the streets, and so therefore they are cowards. Because they were the bravest people in all those elections who stood up and said, I'm going to help everybody else. Even if some of these things don't help me, I'm going to help everybody else domestically and internationally. And so now to come on one of these apps and say they are cowards for not being on the front lines. Do you recognize that black women have been on the front lines since the moment we were put on this continent? They have been at the front lines. They have birthed under duress and forced chattel slavery. They have been at the front lines of all civil rights movements, even though because we're a patriarchy, that often gets overshadowed by the men of the movement. Do your history. Do your research into your history. You'll see that there have been women, black women, prominent in every civil rights movement in this country.
Wait, not you trying to school black women on how freedom is won, right? Like, they wrote the book. They wrote the damn book on how freedom is won historically. It's ironic your name is Harmony, because this has got to be the most tone-deaf take I've ever seen. I mean, there's no couch sitting going on. Like, all across the U.S. right now, black women are already mobilizing. All of the women that I know, they're already doing the damn thing in their neighborhoods and their communities. They are active. They are doing it. For you to assume that they're not just shows me that you really don't know them. Like, it's in their DNA. That's what they do. They're just not willing to sacrifice their lives to do it. And I don't blame them. I don't want them to. Because frankly, this fight, this challenge that we're seeing right now, we have to do it. White people need to step up. We have to step up. The change has to come from us, not them. I don't want them there. Because they're right. It'd be a bloodbath. This is our fight. They're doing what they do. They're doing what they've always done. And I don't think it's too late to say you're sorry.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Joy Report, where we get an outsider's view with an insider's clarity. The internet has been buzzing after an Asian TikTok creator named Harmony started major backlash online. Harmony, who often presents herself as an ally to marginalized groups, crossed a line when she implied that Black Americans are cowards for not taking to the streets to protest certain social issues. Her comments struck a nerve because they didn't just come across as tone deaf, they came across as dismissive of generations of Black struggle, sacrifice, and leadership in movements that people like her now benefit from. Before we proceed, all credit goes to the creators of these videos. Let's watch a few more clips and I'll be back with more commentary.
If you are still saying that you're not coming outside.
Okay, so I'm going to interject here because I like how this is going. And I'm going to be completely honest and say, I don't like this from you, Harmony. I tell you that this is not it. You are speaking from a place of privilege in the way that you are speaking in this video. It is never going to be received in the way that you want it to be. And that's just the truth. Not every conversation is your conversation to have. Not every correction is your correction to make. Some conversations will be better received coming from that person's own community. And if that person's community is not correcting them, you can't take it upon yourself to do so. Because what are the odds that you in this video are just gonna strike some sort of change in that person and inspire them to do something different? No, you're only gonna piss them off and create chaos, which is what's happening here. So I personally feel like this was just not your conversation to have. You are speaking from a place of privilege when you're talking about people not being about that life. So first of all, you're co-opting AAVE and using it against Black people. And I don't know your lineage, but I know I see somebody who is not a Black presenting woman. I see somebody who is not a Black presenting person at all. So you do not share the same risk and the same struggle that somebody who is Black presenting or Afrocentric featured would. And that is just the reality. So to tell people they are not about that life because they choose not to go out in the street, I really want us to stop having conversations like that. Because the reality is some of us are disproportionately targeted by lethal force, inside or outside. It doesn't matter. We are disproportionately targeted, but the reality is the minute Black people get outside, blood is shed. Statistics will show us that. Our own eyes, history will show us that. So I don't like anybody talking down to Black people choosing not to protest.
Many Black Americans found it ironic that someone from outside their community could benefit from civil rights that were won through Black blood and yet have the audacity to call them cowards. It's always the same pattern. Enjoy the rights that Black people fought for, use the culture Black people created, benefit from the activism Black people sustained, and then turn around and call them weak the moment they choose rest over welfare. The truth is, no group in America has marched more, fought more, or sacrificed more than Black Americans. From the civil rights movement to Black Lives Matter protests, Black people have always been at the forefront of social justice. They weren't just signing petitions and reposting hashtags. Many were beaten, jailed, fired from their jobs, and even unalived for demanding basic human dignity. And even today, when Black people protest, the response from the state is entirely different than when white protesters hit the streets. When white people protest, police show up with batons lowered and smiles raised. When Black people protest, police show up in riot gear. Tanks, tear gas, rubber bullets, batons, and zip ties instantly appear the moment Black voices are heard too loudly. So when Harmony made it sound like Black people are not doing enough, many were quick to remind her that protesting does not always look like marching. And even if it did, nobody has marched more. Protesting is also about voting, defunding harmful systems economically, and using social influence strategically. Black Americans protested with their ballots in the last election. They protested by organizing, by campaigning, by protecting democracy when many others were silent. They showed up even when people ignored their warnings. They said what will happen if certain leaders were elected. And now that those predictions are playing out, they are being told to get back in the streets and fix it again. But a lot of people in the Black community are choosing rest over war right now. They are tired of being asked to save everyone. They are tired of martyrdom being their only recognized form of activism. They are tired of putting their lives on the line while others simply repost and criticize from behind a screen. If Black black people protest loudly, they are called aggressive. If they protest quietly, they are called passive. If they rest, they are called lazy. No matter what they do, someone finds a way to undermine their methods. And that's what made Harmony's statement so harmful. It wasn't just that she criticized black people. It was that she criticized them from a position built on their suffering. It's hard to claim allyship while simultaneously disrespecting the very people you claim to stand with. True allies don't guilt trip. They don't shame. They don't tell oppressed communities how they should or shouldn't fight. True allies ask where they can be useful. They show up, whether it's in the streets, in courtrooms, in boardrooms, or in voting booths.
Okay, I think I figured out why Harmony and people is calling black Americans cowards and carrying on because we not out there in the streets. They thought that we had no self-control. That's what they thought. They thought that when we was doing all that stuff, like in 2020 and Ferguson and Baltimore and stuff like that, and LA riots and stuff like that, it was just because we, they were so easily provoked that as soon as somebody do something to one of us, we don't have any strategy, we don't have any type of thought process. We just go like an attack dog. They thought that we had no self-control, and us deciding to sit out and being all on one accord and being strategic and not reacting is showing a level of self-control that they did not realize that we had.
Black Americans have been protesting for centuries, from rebellions during slavery to labor strikes during the industrial era to modern digital activism. Their resistance exists in more forms than many realize. Black mothers protest by raising children who survive systems not built for them. Black voters protest by strategizing politically in blocs so powerful that entire campaigns are built around their winning or suppressing their turnout. So before anyone calls black people cowards, they should remember that the only reason people like Harmony can speak freely today is because black people were willing to die for freedom. The right to protest itself was secured in large part due to black organizing. And while some people are quick to compare activism across communities, very few understand the difference in consequences. A non-black person protesting might get a slap on the wrist. A black protester might get a criminal record that has them for life. The message many in the black community are sending is simple. Do not mistake silence for cowardice. Do not mistake rest for weakness. Black Americans have saved the US time and time again, but they are no longer interested in performing pain for applause. If others feel that more must be done, then pick up a sign, pick up a phone, pick up a ballot and do it yourself. Leadership is not always about shouting from the front. It's also about knowing when to pass the mic.
See, you can disagree with FBAs all day. You can debate strategy. But the moment you start disrespecting the people who took lashes, fire hoses, dogs, and chains while you enjoy rights they earned, now we got a problem.
So what do you all think? Should non-black creators be calling out black people on how they protest? And do you believe rest is also a form of resistance? And most importantly, when is it time for other communities to lead the fight? For once. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. I would love to keep this discussion going. Otherwise, that's it from me. I also have another video specifically tailored for you. And if you enjoy such kind of content, please click up here and enjoy. Also, consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel and helps YouTube recommend this video to a wider audience. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, the Joy Report out.